This is an explanation of the advanced rules to chains. Detonating multiple flares at once is called a chain. Let's see what a chain looks like. Four flares were detonated in succession. Each detonation is counted as one chain, and at the end of the chain number and a bonus score is displayed on screen. Flares that were detonated by a chain reaction will also be included in the chain number. Let's look at how this works. First, 4 flares are detonated. At this point, the number of chains is 4, but in a chain reaction, more flares are detonated, and the chain number increases. In the end, the total number of chains is 8. There are 3 basic colored flares: red, blue, and green. In addition to these colors, there is also a multicolored flare called a wild flare. This is a wild flare. Wild flares may be combined with any other flare. You can first capture a wild flare and combine it with any color, or capture it in between flares. Of course, you can also capture 2 wild flares with one other colored flare as well. However, wild flares cannot be detonated on their own. To detonate a wild flare, you must capture it in combination with a color. Usually, you can only detonate a single color at a time, but by using the wild flares, you may detonate different colors at the same time. Let's see how this works. First, let's capture a blue flare. Next, we'll capture a wild flare. As you can see, we may now detonate the flares. But since the last captured flare was a wild flare, we can also continue to capture flares of a different color. Now, if we detonate the flares, all flares can be detonated at the same time. Using the wild flares to detonate different colored flares is called a daisy chain. In addition, a chain reaction can occur with any of the colors that were detonated in the daisy chain. Thus, usually these blue flares could only be detonated if they touched the blue sparks, but in this case, the blue flares also react to the green sparks and are detonated. Daisy chains are calculated as additional special bonus points, separate from the chain bonuses. Daisy chains are a little more difficult, but a necessary technique to achieve a high score. Try using daisy chains when you have become familiar with the game. This concludes the explanation of Advanced Rules 2, Chains.